high winds, tornadoes, hail. It is storm season in Oklahoma. It can do damage to your roof, and you really don't know if damage has been done unless someone gets up there and actually looks at it. But you want the right eyes on it. You want to make sure that it's a company that you can trust, that has a reputation that's stellar. So if you're looking at getting your roof checked out, redone, these are the guys that can help you. Belter Roofing and Construction, they are the best. Owned by Cory Belter, great guy, strong Christian, man of integrity, and that's the way he leads the company. They're one of 9 companies in the state with the highest certification possible. They're backed by a lifetime warranty, and their commitment is quality and customer satisfaction. These are the guys you can trust. Belter Roofing and Construction. You'll know the difference when you have them out. They'll come out, do a full walkthrough, tell you exactly what they're going to do. They'll take care of the insurance for you. They don't have a single negative review on Google or with the BBB. I don't know about you, but I only trust the best. Belter Roofing and Construction, they are the best. They'll come out, do a free inspection. You can trust them with your roof. Give them a call. It's 405-952-7777. They have the top certifications, lifetime warranties. So if you want the best of the best looking at your roof, look no further than Belter Roofing. They're here to help you. Call them, Belter Roofing and Construction. 405-952-7777. That's Belter Roofing and Construction.
This is the Jake for the State podcast, and this is the call for every red-blooded, God-fearing, liberty-loving patriot to prepare yourself, take your position, stand your ground, and advance the cause of freedom. Let's go.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Jake for the State podcast. I, of course, cover all things local, what's happening here in Oklahoma, and we're just pumped about what's happening with the podcast. We're just seeing our listeners, our viewers go through the roof. So I appreciate all of you. You can constantly help us with that by liking and sharing. If you subscribe, you'll get the updates when we have a new episode coming out. They're coming out daily. And I'm also excited about the partners and sponsors that are coming alongside us who believe in the vision and what we're doing. And one of those is Belter Roofing. And I do stuff a little bit different. I don't just like to take their money and throw their ads out there. I want you to know who they are because they're my partner, they're my sponsor because I know, like, and trust them. And so I believe when you get to know them, you're also going to like and trust them as well. And I only want to do business with people I like and trust. So I want you to have that same opportunity. So I'm going to take a whole podcast to devote to one of my amazing sponsors, Belter Roofing. I have Cory Belter with me today. Welcome to the show.
Hey, man. Thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm really excited.
Man, yes. Well, again, like I said, I only like to do business with people I know, like, and trust. And I've known you for a while now. I've seen you grow this amazing roofing company. And I see your name all over the place now that you're with Valcaster and it's storm season. So we'll get into that in a little bit. First, let's just I want you to introduce yourself to the people, let them get to know you as well. So give us a little background. Who's Cory Belter?
So I am Cory Belter. I am 38 years old. I'm from Western Oklahoma, Caddo County. Lived in Hinton pretty much most of my life. We moved to Yukon a few years ago. I've been married to my beautiful wife, Daisha, for 12 years now. We got 4 kids, amazing kids. You know, they love Jesus, every single one of them. So that's the most important thing in the world, right? So right out of high school, I went to work for my dad's business. He's owned a business for about 25 years now in Western Oklahoma. He's done dirt work, roustabout, pipeline, water line, sewer line, trucks, you name it. Anything oil field related, we were there. So.
And he's county commissioner now, right? Caddo County?
Caddo County, yep. So he's basically retiring this year. I think will be his final days in the oil field. So that's really cool. But as soon as I got out of high school, I went straight to work for my dad. So I was there for about 11 years. I've done water line, sewer line, fiber optic line, phone line, roustabout it. I operated, worked on the pipeline until I figured out, what made the most money out there was welding. So I got into welding the last 6 or 7 years of my career with my dad, and welded on natural gas pipeline until I had an opportunity to start Belter Roofing in 2015. So
Wow.
that's kind of my history. I haven't done a whole lot of things. I try to stick.
That sounds like a lot of things, actually. So, but what was it that made you shift from welding and the pipeline and everything that you'd grown up doing to roofing?
I had a lot of friends that was in the industry. And just every time that we had a Bible group or Bible study, we would talk about it and, how lucrative it could be and just how fun it was to be able to help people and to serve people in their time of need.
Yeah.
Just having an opportunity to start your own business and to be a leader, like my dad was very intriguing for me. So we decided to start a company in 2015, and it's been going strong ever since. So,
man, I love it. When I was in roofing as well, so I did roofing sales for a couple of years, and I actually loved it as well.
I'd love to have you back.
Right. You might see me out there with Belter Roofing on. Who knows? I really did love it, the whole process, because, a home is someone's biggest asset most of the time. And the roof is the covering for it and all of the assets, all the precious things underneath that roof. So it's not just a small thing. It's a pretty major thing. And it's a major expense. And so if you don't have the right insurance, if you're not working with the right company, it could be, not a very positive experience. But if you have the right company with the right insurance policy, it could be a breeze. You have an amazing roof protecting your most valuable asset. And so when I understood that, I had a newfound passion for roofing myself. I went out and sold roofs, installed it, kind of from start to finish. And I loved door knocking. I loved meeting people at the door, talking to them about this, especially after storms when people are, pretty desperate to get those holes covered. So we can get into all of that. But when you think about roofing, when you think about people's precious, the most valuable assets, the precious things that are under the roof, because I know you, I know your faith, I know you're a man of integrity. So what is it that drives you in this roofing industry that seems so saturated, but makes you stand out?
Yeah. That's a really good question. And every contractor may have a different, story behind that, but, we're not a large company. I've got 9 project managers in the field. I've got a general manager. I've got 4 people in office, doing all my estimating, 4 employees and myself. So, just the fact that Oklahomans do get damage, pretty severe damage,
right,
pretty frequently. There's a lot of help out there. And what drives me in this industry is there is a lot of uneducated people in this industry, as there is with everything. And it's not necessarily their fault. It's just they don't know the difference.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out there that need help. And if they get the wrong contractor, the wrong person, they can be getting a lot of wrong help with their house and just not being able to get stuff done. That's kind of what drives our company. Is we like to serve people. We try to stay as educated as possible. Our knowledge just far exceeds most everybody in this industry. I'm the kind of person that, not sinfully, but I like to take pride in everything that I do, whether it's welding, it's fishing, it's roofing. I want to be the best of the best, and not just my knowledge, but my service. So being a smaller company like that, we can look at each job as our own. You're not just a number. We're not pushing out 3,000-4,000 roofs a year like some big companies and some nationwide companies. We handle every claim personally. We don't outsource any of it to anybody else. So that's just kind of the heart of our company and the way we like to do business.
Man, I love it. Again, one of the reasons I'm just proud to partner with you guys as a sponsor of the show. You got started, like I said, this market is kind of saturated. There's a million different roofing companies. You kind of see a new name popping up. It's so easy to slap a name on the side of your truck, put a ladder on it, and appear to be legit. And it's hard for consumers out there, hard for the everyday person to discern, who's legit and who's not. And so what is it that you mentioned some of it already, but how do people know that you're not just one of the other guys with a ladder on your truck and a name on the side of it, appearing legit. So what is it what kind of confidence could you relay to the consumers out there that you are legit?
It's another good point, another good question. As a consumer, not knowing this industry or anything about it, it's very hard these days to be able to discern who is a good company and who's not. Anybody can pay somebody $1,000 or $2,000 to build a nice looking website. They can steal pictures offline and put it on their website and make it look like, hey, look at the work that we're doing. Yeah. You can pay a few $100 to the Better Business Bureau for an A+ rating, and that's great. And I actually see people talk about this all the time online. Why do I want to, anybody can pay for that BBB rating? That's not a big deal. Yes, that's true. Anybody can pay the first year to get an A+ rating, but it's maintaining that A+ rating for several years, because all it takes is one bad review to drop that. So I would just tell the consumer that if you do have damage, you get a hailstorm, you need a contractor, check the BBB's website, see how long they've been a member of the BBB, check their Google reviews, check their Facebook reviews. That's going to differentiate a lot of, the industry out there. And another good thing is look at the website. 10 years ago, you could pull up 2 different contractors' websites and you really couldn't tell the difference because, the more we get into technology, the easier it gets for everybody, right? It's very easy to manipulate people just based on their web presence. So like our website, for example, if you get on our website, you will see pictures of me, you will see pictures of all my guys. Every single picture that is on my website, and there's probably hundreds, are actual jobs for actual customers, actual real reviews. I'm on there, Valcaster's on there. So you start to see a pattern when you look at 2 or 3 or 4 different contractors' websites. You can kind of tell which ones are legitimate, which ones are not. So do your research. Any good, legitimate roofing contractor in the state is going to be certified with the manufacturer, and we'll talk about that as well. So
yeah. Now, and probably one of those pictures that are on your website is Kelly Ogle's roof. You guys did his roof recently, right?
Yeah, we sure did. So Kelly Ogle with my 2 cents. If we did a good job for him. Matter of fact, if we didn't do a good job for him, you'd have known about it.
Right. That's one you want to make sure you do a good job, when they're on the news. And then, of course, you mentioned Valcaster, and I want to get back to him in a little bit, too, talking about the recent tornadoes. But again, just for you to be your name on the side of Valcaster's truck is just one more level of credibility that you guys carry. Because, again, he wouldn't just put anybody's name on his truck either.
Yeah, and he'll tell you that, too.
Yeah.
So Valcaster, he is a very, very good man. Probably one of the best men that I can count on both of my fingers.
Man, that's awesome. So let's talk about some of the things that you guys offer to your customers. I mean, one of them being a lifetime warranty on the roof, but what else?
So, yeah, let's talk about that. So we've been in business since 2015, and I like to brag a little bit on my company and the way that we do things. And just one of the reasons, or one of the 3 reasons that, you can trust us is we have never in the history of our career had a single negative review on any platform. And that's including Facebook, Better Business Bureau, and Google. And for a roofing contractor to be in business for 9 years and not to have a negative review is almost unheard of.
Exactly. I would say for any business these days, because you have so many complainers out there. But I mean, yeah, that is pretty remarkable.
Yes. And we strive to keep it that way, having a heart to serve the consumer. It's not about money for me. It's about taking care of people. And if there is an issue where money's involved or something's not right, I'm the kind of guy that's going to come back, go ahead and get it done. It doesn't matter about the money. It's about taking care of my customer, because I know that if I do you a good job, I want to be your roofer for life. I don't want to do your roof just once. I want to be on speed dial, and I want to be able to have the opportunity for the rest of my life. So, we also carry lifetime warranty, not a 5 or 10 year warranty like a lot of these guys do. We're also certified with our shingle manufacturers, such as Certainteed. They're one of the largest shingle manufacturers in the nation, if not the largest. And out of 2,500 licensed roofers in the state, and God knows how many are unlicensed, they have only allowed 9 roofing contractors to carry their top certification.
Wow.
So what that means is we've had to have our crews come in and get trained and certified and tested. All of my project managers had to be trained and certified and tested, and myself. I've had to take application testing, financial testing. I've had to supply my, tax returns and things like that, not just to show them that, hey, we know what we're doing and how to put a roof on, but hey, we know how to manage our money. And if you allow us to be certified, we're still going to be here the next 5 years because we know what we're doing financially and on the service side. So
Wow.
They want to make sure that if they certify somebody like that, they are going to be here in the future to be able to provide any service and warranty repairs.
Wow. You said one of only 9 companies?
Only 9 companies in the state so far.
Wow.
And that fluctuates every couple of years because, if there's a company not doing what they're supposed to be doing, they're not getting the right reviews, they're not paying their bills, they'll pull them off that list. And they will only let the select elite contractors on there because we represent them.
I have one hoodie, a roofing hoodie in my closet, and it's a Certainty roofing hoodie. That's when I was roofing, that's the shingle I chose most of the time. So yeah, like Certainty. That's cool to hear.
Big shout out to Certainty. Again, if I tell somebody that I am the best roofing contractor in the state, I have to put on the best materials on the state because the consumer doesn't know the difference. All these roofing contractors going out there, they push a certain product, and 99% of them are pushing the cheapest one to make the most profits.
Right.
We don't do that. We believe that if we're the best company in the state, we're going to put on the best materials with the best warranties, with the best service and the best regional representative for their company.
Yeah.
That if we do have a problem, they're going to take care of it.
Okay.
Matter of fact, we do have 2 or 3 roofs right now that we installed 1 year to 3 years ago that had issues with it. And because we are certified, Certainty is going to pay 100% down to the last nail to replace that roof.
Wow. That's huge. That's huge. So we don't have to make this a commercial about Certainty, but I am curious to you, what is it that sets them apart as far as the quality of the shingle from the other shingle manufacturers?
One would be their service, their warranty department. All these shingle manufacturers do have a representative or a manager that if a warranty comes in place, they will take care of it. They'll come out there, inspect it. They'll pull shingles off. They'll get it to their engineers. They'll help make a decision to get it replaced. There's a lot of manufacturers out there. I've been calling for months and a couple years and haven't had a phone call back. And I can get on the phone with Certainties, and he will either answer their phone or call me back immediately.
Wow, no, that's huge. That's huge. I want to shift just a little bit and look at policy right now, the insurance policies, and also policies up at the Capitol that are impacting those insurance policies. So, I know that, well, I'll come back to that. I was actually going to talk about the deductible law that was passed a couple of years ago. And I actually voted for that law that would keep roofing companies from eating the deductible. And because that's just how I was trained. The company I worked for said, we don't eat deductibles. So I was taught that was the way to go. So I voted for that law. We can go back to that in a little bit. But talking about insurance policies, there's been a big shakeup in the insurance world. And I'd love to know your side of things. First of all, what kind of laws have we seen come down the pike, and how's that impacted insurance policies?
Sure. Well, at this point, it's kind of hard to keep up with all of them because it is changing so drastically and so fast. But, the first thing that I would like to say is before we talk about that, I am not an attorney.
Right. Little disclaimer, right?
A little disclaimer. So this is just based off of our experience and the things that we've seen. And again, we see a lot. So if you find yourself in a claim and you're not sure what's happening and they can get messy, just remember this is all hypothetical. And I just want to make that clear. It's not legal advice, but yes. And this is one of the main reasons that we're here today, Jake, is because if we don't educate the consumer on what's happening, it's not going to be good for anybody. Because as a consumer or a homeowner, I know that you're in this industry and you know the difference, but if you didn't, what is the number one thing that most homeowners believe when they have a claim? The number one thing is they believe that, I have a deductible and that's it. That's all I'm responsible for.
Right.
That is no longer the case. There are some homeowners that we are seeing now and that will come in the future based on their policy. They're going to have a whole lot more expenses than just their deductible. Now, the problem is, and again, this is not legal advice, but the problem is is every year you get a policy renewal, right?
Yeah.
And it can be a 90-page policy, lawyer language. It's hard to understand. And if you're not in this industry, you don't know what it means. You just sign your name.
Kind of assume it's what you signed up for in the beginning, huh?
Think I'm covered. Don't know what any of this means. I sign it, goes into effect. Well, 3 months later, you get a hailstorm. Then you find out you don't have the coverages that you thought you did, and there's more expenses than just your deductible.
Wow.
So let's talk about some of those,
Mm-hmm.
because my job is to come here to educate the consumer, because I want to make sure that they're protected. Some of those things are, one, like you said, the deductible. Most people have already seen this. Their policies have went up, anywhere from 80 to 140%. Mine did. I haven't had a claim in years and years and years. And a lot of consumers say this, well, why is my insurance going up? I've never had a claim. It's because everybody around you is having a claim, and your insurance is going to go up regardless.
Right.
That's fact number one.
And can you also say, this is something I talked with customers about, sometimes they were reluctant to file a claim because they didn't want their policy to go up. But if everyone around them is filing a claim, it's going up anyway.
Then everybody around is getting a new roof and they're not.
Right.
And again, I don't ever advise anybody to file a claim unless they have legitimate damage.
Exactly.
That's where we come in. We'll come out, make sure and evaluate the damages that you have, kind of sit down with you and walk you through that. But getting back to some of those, the deductible. So a lot of deductibles, even 4 or 5 years ago, were $500, $1,000 to $2,000 just flat, right? Then a couple of years ago, we seen it change to a percentage factor, 1%. I've even seen it as high as up to 2 or 3%. From my understanding, if you were to 1% last year, you're going to be at a 2% now. Well, let's talk about that. If you have let's just say a $500,000 house, and you've got a 2% deductible on that, that's a $10,000 deductible. That's a pretty big slap to the face already.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not just deductibles that are going up, but I wanted to talk with you guys and the consumers about the things that they need to be educated on and make sure that they have covered in their policy. Because if you do have a claim and you come and find out you don't have these coverages, you could be thousands upon thousands of dollars out of pocket, and it may not even be worth filing the claim.
Right. Okay. So now's the point in time where you get out your pen and paper. So hit pause if you need to. Get out your pen and paper and make a note here. He's about to help you out.
Yes. So this is what I would recommend. Get your pen and paper out, make a list of what you want to ask your agent that you do or do not have coverages for. And the first thing that I would say is ask and make sure and confirm that you have an RCV policy on your home and your roof. What is RCV? It's replacement cost value. So what that means is if you do have a claim, okay, and let's say that your roof was $50,000, they're not just going to hand you a check for $50,000 minus your deductible. Okay, they're going to hold what's called depreciation. If anybody's had a claim, you're probably going to be familiar with that term. Well, how do they hold that depreciation and why? Okay, I'll tell you why. The insurance company only owes for what that job costs. So if it's a $50,000 roof and you've got a $5,000 deductible, they're going to take that right off the top because you owe that deductible. That leaves you at $45,000. Then they're going to depreciate that roof by the age of it. And it's usually around 3 or 4% of that $50,000. So if I take $50,000 times 3 or 4%, you're looking at about $1,500 a year. Okay, you said multiply that by a 10-year-old roof, that's $15,000 in depreciation. They're also going to hold. So you started at $50,000, took out your deductible depreciation, then you have some to start the job. The difference between the RCV policy and the cheaper ACV policy is you can never recover that depreciation in the ACV policy, which is actual cash value. You want to make sure that you have full replacement on your house. That way, once the job is done, you can collect the remaining funds the insurance is holding.
Okay. Key point, RCV over ACV.
Make sure it's on the house and the roof, because I have seen where agents have said, yes, you have a full replacement policy on your home, but once you read the policy, the roof can actually be paid as actual cash value.
Okay.
So make sure and confirm the home and the roof is replacement cost value.
Right. That alone is worth the price of admission right here this morning. I mean, make sure you check with that. All right. What about exclusions?
So the new things that I'd like to talk about, and they're not new. There are some new exclusions coming, but you need to know what exclusions mean. So let's talk about the biggest one that most people are familiar with, metal exclusions. So the second thing that I would say is if you have a metal roof on your house or a metal roof on a shop at your house, make sure that you call your agent and tell them you absolutely do not want a metal exclusion or metal marring exclusion on that policy. What a metal exclusion is on the policy. So if you have a metal roof on your house, okay, so we have metal marring and a cosmetic exclusion, two different things. A cosmetic exclusion on a metal roof basically means unless you get hail that penetrates that metal or damages it severely to where it can potentially leak, it's purely cosmetic and they wouldn't owe for that. Now, again, this is in your policy and there's nothing you can do about that.
So if you had a gutter that had a bunch of dings in it, chances are they're not going to cover that then.
Well, it depends. So there's also what's called a metal marring exclusion that will exclude all metals on your property. Drip edge, the vents on your house, your fascia, garage doors, gutters, your doors, anything metal will not be covered. Even in a full replacement policy, they can add that metal marring exclusion in there, and then you file a claim and find out, now I'm out my deductible and everything metal on my house, and I really wanted to get fixed. So that's a big one. If you have a metal roof or a metal structure, you need to make sure and get a policy that does not have a cosmetic exclusion.
Okay, good to know. That's good.
The next one that we are seeing, or one that's been in the past, it's called law and ordinance. So you have to understand that any time that a roofer does a job or an electrician or a plumber, we have to do things to code, right?
Right.
So there is actually a code out there, which is the 2018 IRC, International Residential Code, that we have to abide by. Most of your policies have what's called law and ordinance coverage in that policy. Well, what does that mean? What that means is if you have a claim on your house and I have to do a job, I have to do it based by the law. So a lot of policies will include around 10% of the home value, that if there's anything that we need to do extra that's not currently there, they have coverage for that. So make sure that you have law and ordinance coverage on that policy.
Okay.
That way the consumer doesn't have to pay for those things.
What are some examples of things that could be added to that?
Decking, for example. There's a lot of consumers out there that's not on the proper decking. They have 1x8s or 1x10s on their house. It's no longer code. Ice and water shield in all the valleys. It's a pill and stick product, 3 foot wide, actually adheres to your decking and it waterproofs the nails where the snow builds up. Drip edge around your house, 2 inches back up under the shingles, proper intake and exhaust ventilation. The code for that is 1 in 300 square foot CFM of intake and exhaust. 95% of the houses that I install a roof on are improperly ventilated. Wow. It is actually code to ventilate it correctly, and 99% of contractors will burn and turn the consumer. They don't even know what the proper air intake is for intake and exhaust, and they just slap a roof back on exactly the way they found it.
How does that impact resale value?
Well, it depends. You know, if you do not have proper ventilation on your house, you could drastically reduce the life of your shingles by up to 80%. I have seen roofs as young or as new as 4 to 5 years old that looks like they're 15 or 20 years old because they don't breathe. If you don't get those shingles breathing and properly ventilated, it could put you in a position of, hey, my roof's 5 years old. I'm ready to sell my house. Now my inspector came out and said that the roof's in terrible damage. There's thermal cracking. There's blisters on it. You can't get the insurance to pay for it because they owe for storm-related damage, and that's not storm-related. So it's very crucial that you get a contractor out there that gets proper ventilation on that house.
Wow. And I would imagine if you're trying to sell your home, you have a home inspector come in and they discover the ventilation is not up to code. Would you be required to upgrade that to code before you sell in certain situations?
You know, it just depends on the inspector.
Yeah.
If there is an issue with the shingles and they find it out, they could investigate why it's happening. And this is what a lot of roofing contractor experts don't understand is they're responsible for that. So yes, they might have got a job. Yes, the insurance might not have paid for those things. They went back with what the the homeowner originally had, and 4 or 5 years down the road, the product fails. Now he's held liable for that,
Right.
So that's a big issue.
It is. Well, I know that some people have already filled up a notebook full of notes and everything. That's good. I want to get to just a couple more things, and then we're just going to have to do this again to get some more info out to people. But talk to me about supplement and estimating.
Yeah. Well, if you don't mind, I apologize. I want to hit 2 more.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's fill it. Hey, get your pen, sharpen your pencil one more time.
That's why I'm here today. So another one's called overhead and profit exclusion. This is something new that's coming out this year that I've never seen before. Make sure that you call your agent and confirm that you do not have an overhead and profit exclusion on that policy.
Okay, what is that?
So overhead and profit, let's talk about that. The way the insurance companies and carriers view this is based off of complexity and coordination. I disagree with this a little bit, okay? So let's say, for example, you have a claim on your house, Jake, and a baseball-sized hailstorm is not just going to damage the shingles. It's going to damage the shingles, the gutters, the siding, the windows, the fence, maybe get a leak with interior damage, garage doors,
AC
units,
right.
Whatever the case might be. You may have 12 or 15 different types of construction needs on that claim that you don't know who to call. So we are a turnkey company. We do everything start to finish, not just roofing. We do everything on that claim. But in order for me to be able to coordinate, manage, supervise, get all these estimates together, and schedule those jobs and check on those jobs and make multiple trips, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of contracting, it's a lot of different trades, and that time is very valuable. So what overhead and profit is usually the general rule of thumb is if I have a $50,000 claim, it's an extra 20% of that $50,000 to hire one person to do all of those trades, so you don't have to. Basically, a general contractor's extra.
Absolutely. I mean, as a homeowner, that's very appealing. So you're not having to go call 50 different separate contractors to come in and deal with this. I mean, just a turnkey solution is always ideal as long as it's quality, and I know you guys bring quality. So are you saying that there are some policies that would exclude that?
Yes, that's what we're seeing now. Even my own personal renewal policy that I got had what's called an overhead and profit exclusion. So it's one of those things as a consumer, you have to understand that, I am in this business to make money, but if the insurance companies are not allowing me to charge that extra percentage, I can't go out there and do that for free.
Right, for sure.
It does take time. It does take expenses to be able to do that. It's not just slapping a roof on in a couple days. It's gutters, garage doors, fence, interior damage, window screens, gutters. That's a lot of time, a lot of weeks, a lot of coordinating. Yeah. We have employees in office that handle all that, all of our experts. So those are some extra expenses that you really need to be covered for.
Exactly. So what should a person do? Just call their insurance agent and say, hey, I want to make sure I'm covered here? Correct. And are there some insurance companies that just do not provide that? I mean, would some people be forced to change insurance companies altogether?
So I would make a list again, and we'll review these when I get done, of check.
Yeah.
If your carrier or your company does not offer some of these, feel free to reach out to us. I know several agents that can help you, or you may know another agent. Just do some checking, do some shopping around to protect yourself, because if you don't, you're going to find yourself with a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 out-of-pocket bill when you thought all I was responsible for was my deductible.
Right.
Or just not be able to get the work done or hire a professional to do it. That gets even messier.
Oh yeah, exactly. All right. Are you ready for supplement? Did I skip anything?
No. Yeah, we can talk about that.
All right, let's hit supplement, and then we'll wrap this up, and then do a part 2 coming at the people. So what do we mean by supplement and estimating?
Yeah. So, the way it works is a lot of homeowners' mentality, if they've never been through this process before, and it used to be the standard, is if I get a claim on my house, I need to get 3 estimates. Let me just tell you, the worst thing you can ever do is get 3 estimates, and I'll tell you why. Okay. You go out and get 3 estimates, and you choose 2 or 3 guys that don't know what they're doing, and they're new to this industry, and they don't know how to price things correctly.
Which I saw all the time.
It happens all the time. Chuck in a truck, there's a reason that term's made. So let's say you get an estimate for your claim for $20,000, you get one for $40,000, and you get one for $60,000, and you turn that into your insurance company. Which one do you think they're going to pay?
The lowest one.
The lowest one, because you just showed them, hey, I can get this done for this price, and they only owe you what it costs. So be careful on who you hire. Okay.
So let me ask you this. The insurance companies say, give me 3 estimates.
They might.
Okay. If they do that, are you required to?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
You can hire whoever you want. There is no, and I've had insurance companies tell the consumer, well, go ahead and get 3 estimates, and then the customer, that's what they do, and they ultimately end up burning themselves.
Right, exactly. They get the subpar shingle. They don't get the lifetime warranty. They get a company that's open today and gone tomorrow. So
then you have 3 companies that are like, they know that they're competing with one another. So what are they going to do? They're going to cut their product. They're going to cut their labor. They're going to try to come in as cheap as they can to secure that bid. You're going to get the cheapest rate possible.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah.
We do things a little bit different. When we help a customer with an insurance claim, we meet the adjuster on the site. We treat every single claim like it's a crime scene. We investigate every square inch of that property from start to finish, including the fence, screens, gutters, the attic, the interior damage, every closet, everything. Because one, if it's damaged, they owe you for that. That's
why you're paying your premium.
You're paying your premium.
Right.
So why would you ever want to go get a cheap estimate for a few things? You need somebody to come out there and investigate that entire claim and make sure that you're, one, paid fairly, so you can be able to get the work done. And that's kind of what we do. So we meet the adjusters on the job site. We go through a very diligent job scope to build our estimate, because last time I checked, the insurance companies were not the ones doing the job. We are. So thank you for guessing what it might cost. Here's what it's actually going to cost. Here's all the code items that you missed. Here's the fence that you missed. Here's the interior of the 2 closets you missed. Mm-hmm. That's why you want to hire somebody to go out there and be diligent.
And I can just say, I've seen over and over again, even within the company that I worked for, roofers who are just wanting to get the job done to get to the next job. And so they're not going to hang around to fight for you to get that fence fixed or to get those screens fixed on the window. It depends. It's a huge difference in the outcome and what you end up getting if you have someone staying there willing to fight in the trenches, be your advocate, and push for full funding for everything you've been paying for.
That's correct. Because at the end of the day, if I'm working a claim and the homeowner wants to get their fence done, but I don't get it paid correctly, then how am I going to get it done? Then they're going to be upset with me. So I want to make sure that everything is paid correctly on that claim. And we have our own in-house certified estimators. So I don't outsource any of my estimations or estimates. I have employees in office that are certified by the same programs that the insurance company uses. So when your insurance company or your adjuster gives you a report with pricing on there, you as a consumer have no idea what that is or if it's correct or any of that.
Take them at their word.
We do. So that's why we're able to get such a significant increase in our estimates versus the insurance. So we have our own team to do that, our own employees, our own programs. We're very diligent in doing that. And if I told you the increases that we got percentage-wise, it would blow your mind.
And that's just added value to the property, to the homeowner's property, right? I mean, you're fighting the insurance to pay what they're supposed to pay so that the homeowner can have everything repaired, restored back to 100%. And ultimately that's going to impact their property value. So yeah, it's huge to have people don't understand all that goes into having the right company. It's not just about the day they're on the job. It's about the days that follow, or the work that they don't see, the damage that they don't see. I love how you said comparing it to a crime scene. I mean, that kind of thorough investigation and detail, documenting things. You're talking about satellite images of the property. So, man, I would say this. From my time in the industry, I could say this is rare. And I could see why you're one of the top 9 companies in the state certified with certainty. And I just, again, am proud to have you as a partner and sponsor. Encourage all of you guys out there listening. I hope this was beneficial to you. I know it is if you took time to write this down and maybe go back. You can rewind these, right? So go back, and if you missed any of them, make sure you cover it. Do you want to give them a review real quick of the things they need to write down?
Yeah, let's do that real quick. So call your agent, write this down, tell them to check on your policy. But one, full replacement RCV value on your home and your roof. No metal marring or cosmetic exclusion on that policy. Another one is no discontinuation exclusion. This is one that we missed. So if you have a discontinued product on your house, you have one shingle blow off or a leak, it cannot be repaired or fixed. As long as you don't have a discontinuation exclusion in your policy, if that happens, it would usually warrant a full roof replacement. So no discontinuation exclusion, no overhead and profit exclusion, and make sure that you do have law and ordinance coverage in that policy.
No, that's good stuff, man. Ultimately, it's going to save people a lot of money and get the most bang for their buck. Cory, I appreciate your time today. There's so much more we can talk about, so we're going to do this again. We'll have some more videos coming to you to make sure that you are well informed and have the right roofing company to come and service you. We're in storm season. We didn't even get into all of the impact from the tornadoes and what Val Castor's seeing and what you guys have been doing in response to the tornadoes. So we'll get to that next time, but appreciate you guys tuning in to the Jake for the State podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe and share, and let's do it again next time.